Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Women don't become obsessed with men because of money, looks, or status alone. Sure, those things can spark interest, but obsession, that's a different game. Obsession happens when a woman feels you in her head, even when you're not around. It's when she's replaying your words at night, checking her phone for your messages and wondering why you're different from every other guy who's chasing her. And here's the truth most men don't want to hear. You can't make a woman obsessed with you by trying too hard. In fact, the more you push, the less she feels it. Obsession comes when she feels you without fully having you. That tension, that little space you leave, is what keeps her hooked. Most men either smother women with attention or hold back so much that she never feels anything real. The balance is what most guys miss. A woman becomes obsessed when you make her feel a mix of safety and unpredictability. She knows you're interested, but she never feels like she fully controls you. That mystery pulls her in deeper. Think about it. When was the last time you found yourself really thinking about a woman? It probably wasn't the one who was too available, right? It was the one who gave you just enough to feel something but kept you curious. Women are exactly the same. So if you've ever wondered how to make a woman genuinely crave you, not just like you or tolerate you, then listen closely. I'm not going to give you cheesy pickup tricks or manipulative nonsense. I'm going to show you how women actually think and how to naturally create the kind of presence that keeps her hooked long after the date ends. 1. Why women crave the man. Why women crave the man they can't fully predict. They can't fully predict. Here's the thing about women. We don't sit around thinking, I want a man who's unpredictable. What we actually crave is the feeling that comes with not being able to fully figure you out. When you're too easy to read, too available, too obvious, there's no room for curiosity. And without curiosity, there's no obsession. Think about it. If you text her every single morning with the same "good morning, beautiful" line, do you know what happens after a while? It stops meaning anything. At first, it might make her smile, but when she can predict it, when she knows exactly what's coming, her brain shuts down the excitement. She doesn't have to wonder about you. You've already told her everything she needs to know. But when a man keeps a little edge, when he's consistent in his interest but not predictable in his behavior, that's when women lean in. We start asking ourselves questions. What's he thinking? Why hasn't he texted yet? What's he up to? That space you leave isn't rejection, it's intrigue. And intrigue is addictive. Now, I'm not talking about playing games or intentionally withholding. Women can spot fake manipulation instantly. I'm talking about being a man who lives a full life, who doesn't make a woman the center of his universe from day one. That's what makes you unpredictable. Not because you're trying to confuse her, but because you're genuinely not living your life around her. Picture this. A woman spends an amazing evening with a guy. He's funny, confident, and present with her. They connect deeply. But instead of waking up the next day and flooding her phone with attention, he goes about his life. He's not cold, but he's not waiting by his phone either. Maybe he texts her later that evening. Maybe he doesn't. That little gap makes her think about him. She's checking her phone, wondering when she'll hear from him again. That's where obsession begins. In the spaces, not in the floods of attention. A man who is fully predictable gives away all his power. A man who balances consistency with just enough uncertainty creates an emotional roller coaster. Women secretly love. That's why you'll hear women say, I can't stop thinking about him. He's just different. What they really mean is, he doesn't let me figure him out completely. If you want a woman to crave you, stop trying to prove yourself with constant effort. Instead, focus on living your life, being present when you're with her, and allowing space when you're not. That natural unpredictability, that's what keeps her hooked. 2. The secret power of emotional contrast. Secret power of emotional contrast. If there's one thing you need to understand about female psychology, it's this. Women don't fall for men because of constant comfort. We fall for men because of contrast. Comfort makes us feel safe, but contrast makes us feel alive. And obsession only happens when those two things are mixed together. Here's what I mean by contrast. If you're always the nice, agreeable guy who never challenges her, she may like you, but she won't feel that spark. On the other hand, if you're always distant, difficult, or detached, she might chase you for a little while, but eventually she'll burn out because there's no emotional safety. The real magic happens when you can balance both. You give her moments of warmth, closeness, and security, and then moments of mystery, challenge, or distance. That back and forth triggers her emotions in a way that locks you into her mind. It's the same reason women get hooked on certain TV shows or songs. It's not just about what we see or hear. It's about the emotional highs and lows we feel. Those shifts are what keep us addicted. And when a man can naturally create that same emotional variety, we can't stop thinking about him. Now here's where most men get it wrong. They think contrast means playing hot and cold games. It doesn't. It's not about pretending you're not interested or suddenly pulling away just to get a reaction. Women can feel when you're faking it. True emotional contrast comes from living authentically. For example, being warm and playful when you're with her but not always, available at her convenience, or being deeply attentive in person but not blowing up her phone every hour afterward. It's also about showing different sides of yourself. When a woman sees that you can make her laugh one moment, then handle a serious situation calmly the next, that's powerful contrast. When she notices you're confident around her but not arrogant with others, that's contrast. When she realizes you can be affectionate without being needy, that's contrast. 3. How subtle distance creates deep desire. How subtle distance creates deep desire. If there's one thing men underestimate, it's the power of distance. Most guys think closeness is what makes a woman fall harder. They believe that constant attention, constant messaging, and constant presence is what makes her feel secure and interested. But the truth is, too much closeness too soon kills desire. What really pulls a woman in is the subtle use of distance. Notice, I didn't say ignoring her, I didn't say ghosting her, and I definitely don't mean being cold. I mean creating space that allows her to miss you, to think about you, and to wonder what you're doing when you're not around. That mental gap is where attraction grows, stronger. When a woman feels your presence all the time, she gets used to it. You become routine, and routine makes her comfortable, but not obsessed. Obsession requires that feeling of longing, and longing doesn't happen if she never has a chance to miss you. This is why men who live full lives without centering everything around women naturally attract more interest. When you're genuinely focused on your goals, your friends, your passions, and your own growth, you automatically create distance because she knows you're not just waiting around for her. That quiet independence is magnetic. Women don't obsess over men they can control. If she knows you'll answer every call within seconds, drop everything when she texts, and rearrange your plans the moment she wants to see you, she loses respect for you over time. But when you respond thoughtfully instead of instantly, when you keep your plans instead of canceling them, and when you give her attention without sacrificing your own priorities, she feels that balance. She realizes you value her, but you value yourself too. That's where deep desire is born, not from overexposure, but from absence that makes her crave your presence even more. Here's the psychology behind it. Anticipation is powerful. When you give her just enough of yourself to spark interest and then pull back into your own world, her brain fills in the gaps with curiosity. She starts imagining you, replaying your words, wondering when she'll hear from you again. That mental energy is what creates obsession. The confidence that pulls women in. 4. The confidence that pulls women in. Let's get one thing straight. Nothing makes a woman obsessed with a man faster than confidence. But here's the catch. Most men completely misunderstand what confidence actually looks like to women. They think it's about flexing money, bragging about achievements, or acting like they don't care. That's not confidence. That's insecurity dressed up in a louder outfit. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. A confident man can walk into a room without saying a word and people feel it. Not because he's trying to be seen, but because he's completely comfortable with who he is. That's the kind of confidence women are drawn to. The type that feels steady, not performative. Here's why confidence matters so much in female psychology. Women are wired to test men, not always intentionally, but because we're drawn to strength. We want to feel like you can handle pressure, that you don't crumble at the first sign of discomfort. When you respond with calm certainty, instead of panic or neediness, it speaks louder than any smooth line you could ever say. Confidence also shows up in the small things. It's in how you hold eye contact without looking away nervously. It's in how you order your food without second-guessing yourself. It's in how you talk to people, not with arrogance, but with ease. These tiny behaviors communicate way more to a woman than big speeches or forced swagger. Now let's talk about what confidence is not. It's not pretending you don't care about her. Women see through that. It's not being loud or aggressive. That just makes you look insecure. And it's not about being perfect either. In fact, when you can own your flaws without apologizing for existing, that's one of the strongest forms of confidence there is. What really makes a woman obsessed is when she feels that your confidence is real, when you don't chase validation from her, when you're not fishing for compliments, when you don't crumble just because she's testing your boundaries. That unshakable energy makes her respect you, and respect is the foundation of obsession. Think about it. If a woman feels like she can easily control you, she won't obsess over you. She'll get bored. But if she feels your steady presence, if she feels like you're strong enough to lead but not so insecure that you need to dominate her, she'll lean into that energy. She'll want to be around you because your confidence makes her feel both secure and excited. 5. When masculine energy meets her feminine instincts, here's something most men don't realize. Women are naturally drawn to men who embody strong, calm, masculine energy. I don't mean being domineering, controlling, or acting like some macho stereotype. True masculine energy is steady, grounded, and unshakable. And when it meets a woman's feminine instincts, it creates chemistry that feels electric. Feminine energy thrives on flow, emotions, and connection. Masculine energy thrives on direction, stability, and certainty. When a man shows up with that balance of strength and calm, it activates something deep in a woman. She feels safe to let her guard down, to express herself, to lean into her feminine side, and that's where obsession starts building. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a couple at a dinner date. The woman gets frustrated because the restaurant messes up her order. She's flustered, complaining, and clearly upset. Now, most men in that moment either try too hard to fix it, panicking, calling the waiter over frantically, or they get annoyed at her reaction. Both of those responses kill attraction. But a man who's grounded in his masculine energy does something different. He stays calm. He doesn't let her emotions throw him off balance. He might even smile, make a light joke, or handle the waiter politely without breaking his composure. He's steady, not shaken, and in that moment, the woman feels it. His energy is stable, and hers can relax into it. She may not say it out loud, but inside she's thinking, this man can handle me. He can handle life. I want more of this. That's how masculine and feminine dynamics work. It's not about dominance. It's about polarity. A woman becomes obsessed when she feels a man's energy, gives her space to lean into her own nature. When you're secure, she doesn't have to be. When you're calm, she can be expressive. When you're grounded, she can be free. 6. The art of not needing her, but still wanting her, but still wanting her. Here's a truth that will change the way you look at women forever. Women do not obsess over men who need them. They obsess over men who choose them. There's a huge difference. Neediness kills attraction because it puts a woman in the position of power. If you need her attention, her validation, or her presence to feel good about yourself, she senses it instantly. And instead of being drawn to you, she starts pulling back. Why? Because no woman wants to be responsible for a man's self-worth. It feels heavy, like a burden. But when you don't need her, when your happiness, confidence, and sense of self come from within, everything changes. You become a man who can want her without being dependent on her. And that's when a woman becomes obsessed, because suddenly she realizes you're not with her because you have to be. You're with her because you choose to be. This is one of the deepest desires women have, even if we don't always admit it. We want to feel chosen by a man who could live without us, but prefers not to. That's what makes his attention so powerful. It's not coming from emptiness or desperation. It's coming from strength. Now here's where many men get confused. They think not needing her means acting cold, distant, or detached. But that's not it. That's just another form of insecurity. True independence doesn't mean rejecting her. It means you're whole on your own, and she's an addition to your life, not the source of it. Ask yourself this: if she walked away tomorrow, would you still be okay? If the answer is no, that's where your work begins. Because the man who is centered, who has a mission, who invests in himself, who enjoys life with or without her, that's the man women can't stop thinking about. Stop playing small. The real reason she can't obsess over you. 7. Stop playing small. The real reason she can't obsess over you. I need to be blunt with you here. Many men will never experience a woman being obsessed with them because they play small. They shrink themselves. They hold back. They hide who they really are. All in the hope of not messing things up. And that energy is exactly what kills obsession. Women don't become obsessed with men who are afraid of their own power. We don't lose sleep over men who play it safe, always agreeable, never bold enough to stand out. What keeps us hooked is when a man shows up fully unapologetic about who he is, what he wants, and what he stands for. If you're always tipped, booing around, afraid to upset her, afraid to say the wrong thing, you might get her tolerance, maybe even her friendship, but never her obsession. Obsession requires intensity. It requires a man who isn't scared to take up space. And here's the part most men miss. That doesn't mean being arrogant, aggressive, or controlling. It means being secure, enough to own your presence and stop deluding yourself just to be liked. Ask yourself, are you showing her the real you, or are you showing her a watered-down version of yourself because you're scared of rejection? If it's the second one, that's why she's not obsessing over you. Women don't crave men who blend in. We crave men who make us feel something real, even if it's challenging at times. You want her obsessed? Then stop hiding your masculine energy. Speak your mind. Set your boundaries. Lead with confidence instead of waiting for her to tell you what's okay. When you respect yourself enough to stand firm, you force her to see you differently. She may test you, but those tests are not to destroy you. They're to see if you're strong enough to handle her world. The truth is, most men give away their power without realizing it. They apologize for things they don't need to apologize for. They avoid saying no because they're scared she'll walk away. They settle for disrespectful behavior just to keep her around. And then they wonder why she doesn't value them. Here's the raw truth. If you don't value yourself, she can't value you either. And if she doesn't value you, she'll never obsess over you. So stop playing small. Stop shrinking to fit her comfort zone. Step into your full presence, your ambition, your standards. Be the man who lives with purpose and refuses to compromise his identity just to be liked. That's the kind of man who makes a woman think if I lose him, I lose something I'll never find again. And that's exactly where obsession begins, the bold truth you need to hear. Conclusion. Most men don't want to face. Women don't obsess over average. We don't lose sleep over men who are predictable, needy, or afraid of their own power. Obsession comes when a man shows up fully, confident, grounded, a little mysterious, and unapologetically himself. And let me say this clearly, it's not about looks, money, or status. Those things can get attention, sure, but they don't keep it. What keeps a woman hooked is how you make her feel. If she feels challenged, desired, safe, and a little uncertain all at once, that's when you stay on her mind. The dangerous mistake most men make is thinking effort equals attraction. It doesn't. Effort without power just feels like chasing. What actually works is balance, your ability to want her without needing her, to give her warmth without smothering her, to show confidence without arrogance. That's what flips the dynamic and makes her invest in you. So, here's my challenge to you. Stop asking, how do I get her to like me? And start asking, am I being the kind of man a woman could obsess over? Because if the answer is no, then you've got work to do.